Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Helsinki for the MSEM format. I'm Caillou, and today we're watching the round 2 match between CanterburyEgg, who's playing Highdra, which is essentially a combo mid-range deck that aims to use a Phyto Pillar to drop a turn 2 thriving Highdra. It also runs a decent amount of interaction due to its teamer nature, but also has mid-range threats like this Intrepid. Meanwhile, FifthDragon, CanterburyEgg's opponent, is playing a blue-black 5-color ninjas. It's a tempo deck which uses Monument to the Fallen Man to flash in powerful disruptive threats, and then uses counter magic and hand attack to essentially throw the opponent off their game while whittling them down with powerful cheap threats. So Egg is going to play Artie's Study, which used to be a different card, a much stronger card. A similar mechanic with Archive 5, but it let you play the top card of your archived library if it was a permanent. It was recently nerfed in the May Madness patch, but it's still very strong given that now you can play lands at any position in your library. So it's essentially draw 5 if you need lots of lands or if you hit many lands that you want. It also just clears up the top of your library quite well and gives you some like semblance of card selection. I'm not sure if it's completely the right call for Egg to be running it, but I'm glad that someone is trying it post-nerf. Okay, playing Precursor Sanctum off the Artie Study. This is one of the very, very strong cards in this format right now. It's essentially a hideaway land, but if you have 4 or more differently named lands, you essentially just get to cast whatever you hideawayed for free. And in this format, having 4 or more differently named lands is basically not a cost whatsoever, so very easy to just have that. Meanwhile, on end, Fifth flashed in a Heartwind Cunning Lieutenant. It's incredibly strong in that it allows for normal discard spells to hit lands, and also allows you to get card advantage off of discard spells by forcing them to let you cast it. So right now, despite CanterburyEgg having 2 mana dorks, doesn't really have much action going on. Doesn't have the 4th land yet to turn on Intrepid, though we'll probably be playing one out of the Artie Study now. But even then, I think 5th probably will have interaction for the Intrepid, and then can just keep swinging in with Heartwind or other good tempo creatures. But oh no, Egg does have Phasmopillar. This is one of the 2 combo pieces, playing it for X equals 0 so that it'll immediately die. But 5th does have the Diffuse, and unfortunately Egg didn't play a creature before. A land before. But whoops, I forgot that Egg does have the mana dork, so we'll be able to pay for that. But Phasmopillar is going to come down regardless. And yep, here comes Thriving Highdra. So it basically comes in as a 4/4, which isn't super crazy. But then it also just buffs all of the mana dorks into 4/4s as well. So now Egg gets to swing in for 8 with the Kin's Devoted and the Intrepid, and next turn, 5th just dies. And this is the problem. 5th doesn't have a way to deal with resolved threats. And, like, can't kill Egg before his next turn. Like, Shinrei is nice, but with only 2 power is definitely not going to get there, while Egg is at 15 life. And yeah, I think the mana dorks are like a sleeper hit versus 5th's deck, in that they can become threats with the combo, and they also give Egg mana to pay for like the taxing spells that 5th has, so they're very strong in that regard. But yeah, so 5th just scooped right there, didn't have a way to answer Egg's huge board. Let's see what these players could bring in from the sideboards here. So I could see Egg definitely bringing in Cursory Glance, probably wants, and Dispel as well. Dispel, Negate, Cursory Glance are all ways for Egg to fight back against Fifth's own interaction suite. I don't know what I feel like bringing in all of them would be overkill, but I could see bringing in the Dispels and the Cursory Glance, in addition to the 6 pieces of counter magic that Egg already has main. Probably taking out RD Study, and I'd imagine maybe like some of the Beacon of the Wilds. That would be my call. Meanwhile, for fifth, I think, man, I don't know. Like Recoil is actually really good because it allows fifth to let Egg combo off and then bounce a Thriving Hydra if that's the only creature that Egg has. Ignition Ritual is a really expensive way for fifth to deal with resolved board of big fatties. I could see Recoil and Ignition Ritual coming in. Other than that, I don't know that the negates are worth it as anti-anti interaction. So, getting into game 2, Egg doesn't have a turn 1 mana dork, and with fifth going turn 1 Golden Glade into another land, will basically have perfect fixing for anything he wants to do. Doesn't have a play there though, I guess it's probably just going to hold up counter magic. And Egg keeping a hand without any mana dorks maybe signals to me that he's just trying to go raw turn 2 Phasmopillar Thriving Hydra has the combo and is trying to go off despite or like hoping that fifth doesn't have stack interaction. But no, fetched an island with the Wayfarer Shrine and then plays a Mysterious Cataract. Doesn't have a turn 2 play either. I'm kind of surprised by this. I wonder what Egg could have in store. But geez, fifth not playing anything as well. Just gonna Golden Glade and pass. What is this? This is like, despite this being like tempo versus combo control, both of which I think are decks that, despite having interaction, play like do have early plays. This is just playing like a Drago mirror so far. Finally, fifth gonna play something. Turn 4 has the Monument to the Fallen Man. Still has 2 mana up for interaction though, so I guess this is what fifth was hoping for. Can now start dropping in threats on Egg's end step while also holding up mana for interaction. Now Egg might have been waiting also to combo off with interaction though. Has 4 mana, but no, it's just gonna pass once again. And this is really good for fifth, because now fifth can start dropping creatures like nobody's business. Gonna put in Shinrei of the Ghosting Way, then drop in an Astute Prophet on his own turn with Monument to the Falling Man. It draws 2 cards off of it because Shinrei is legendary. The best free divination you ever saw. And then he's gonna sack it to Shinrei, and then swing in with Shinrei. Deals 2 damage to Egg, and then gets to recur the Astute Prophet with Shinrei's last trigger. So can draw 2 more cards if he wants to. But isn't going to replay the Astute Prophet, just is going to hold up all of the mana for interaction, I guess. Meanwhile, on end, Egg is going to play Beckon the Wild. So he's going to play it X equals 1. I guess usually this is supposed to be X equals 2 for Phasmopillar. But I guess it's just going to find a mana dork here. Probably Dovan. And yep, here comes Dovan. And Dovan is pretty good here because of the Exile ability, because it means that fifth won't be able to keep pulling the sacrifice recurrence shenanigans, because in response to the combat damage trigger, Dovan can just exile the Prophet, and therefore fifth won't be able to recur it. Oh, but is going to run out the Phasmopillar now. But fifth has the anti-magic. Anti-magic is basically just better counterspell in fifth's deck because of all of the 5-color lands that he has. And the 5-color lands are primarily just for anti-magic. But here comes the sideboard Dispel. Fifth still has more mana though, but doesn't have more interaction. So this Phasmopillar is going to resolve. Yeah, probably should have just, I don't know. I'm not sure what fifth could have done there, because I was about to say should have replayed the Prophet, but then wouldn't have had the mana to play a second piece of counter magic off of it. Phasmopillar dies, and Thriving Hydra comes down. Dovan gets buffed up to a 4/5. And it has pseudo haste since Beacon of the Wild flashed it in last turn. And the question is, does Egg want to start beating face with this? Or does Egg want to keep it up for the exile ability? Okay, yeah, so it's not going to swing in with Dovan. It's just going to hold it up for the exile ability to prevent fifth from looping. And there's the sideboard recoil from Fifth. But oh no! The egg just has more counter magic, just gonna spell stutter the recoil. This thriving Hydra is staying on the battlefield. Okay, Fifth once again gonna flash an Astute Prophet on his turn with Monument to the Fallen Man. Draw 2 more. And an Ignition Ritual or a recoil will save Fifth here. Preferably the Ignition Ritual. But no, it's just gonna run out more creatures. Gyrian Pickpocket. Okay, Egg is just gonna discard a Phasmo to it. Doesn't need that anymore. And wow, another Gyrian Pickpocket. So Egg is just going to be empty-handed now. Yeah, there goes that Beacon of the Wild. Beacon of the Wild would have actually been nice here. Egg, it might be fine for Egg to be empty-handed with this board, honestly. If Fifth has anything to say about it, Fifth is definitely going to try and race. Oh my god, the third creature, Astute Prophet number 2. And then draws 2 more cards, my god. Yeah, the card advantage from Fifth is insane right now. Unfortunately, can't really do much with them. I feel like Fifth could have swung in with Shinrei, sacking 2 Astute Prophets, and then get one of them back. On end step, gonna use Devon's ability, exile one of his own Phasmopillars, and then buff up Devon a little bit more and gain some life. Egg gonna swing in with the Thriving Hydra, which, using its own ability, it becomes an 8/8, and Devon becomes, yikes, a 10/11. No blocks from Fifth, surprising. I guess because Thriving Hydra has trample anyways. If Fifth doesn't have removal soon, is looking at death, especially with Ares Pillar providing so much reach for Egg, and it being a creature land makes it pretty hard for Fifth to answer. Oh, but there's the gal herself, the deck namer, Suzume Oshiroko, Granny Bouncy. So is probably just going to go ham with Monument to the Fallen Man and Astute Prophet, and then try to just draw into something real nice here. So is going to bounce an Astute Prophet with Suzume, flash it back in with the Monument, draws 2. And then, oh, Snowfield Mother. This has always been Fifth's pet card. And I think Fifth always wants Fair Magic to be playable, and so has a one-of copy of this in main just as a statement because it's playable off of the Golden Glades. So it's kind of hilarious to see her getting played. And ironically, this might actually just be good enough because now Fifth is going to be gaining 4 each turn, making some 2/2s, and can probably just out-widen Egg's board before Egg can kill him. Of course, I say that, but also Thriving Hydra is going to become a 16/16 Trampler next turn. Maybe I am a little bit suspicious about the ability of Snowfield Mother to help. So here comes the 16/16 Trample, and it looks like Fifth is going to triple block it with Shinrei, Gyrian Pickpocket, and Astute Prophet, go to 3 life. Fifth can, however, flicker the Snowfield Mother to gain some life right there, but I don't know, dog. This next turn, this Thriving Hydra becomes a 32/32 Trample. Fifth just loses to that without a recoil. So Fifth gonna bounce the Astute Prophet, draw 2 more cards. Did Fifth draw into the interaction? Oh, has a Column Weller. Can play her and immediately -3 her to kill the Thriving Hydra. But Egg has a bunch of mana up and 1 card in hand. Could it be a piece of interaction for the column? And nope. Okay, Thriving Hydra is dead. And all of a sudden, Fifth is back in this game. Okay, on end, Egg is gonna exile the Astute Prophet from Fifth's grave. Devon goes up to a 23/24, which would be a terrifying stat line if this had any evasion ability. But with Fifth at 2 life now, Egg can just animate the Ares Pillar and swing in for lethal, right? Unless Fifth has some sort of interaction removal at 2 mana, but I don't know that does Fifth have any interaction that only costs a single black mana? I don't think so. So yep, Egg is just gonna animate the Ares Pillar. Moment of truth. Does Fifth have the answer? Okay, Fifth is gonna tap the Monument to the Fallen Man, flash in another Astute Prophet. Did Fifth hit an answer? And saying sad in chat, that isn't it. And that's it. Egg takes it 2-0 over Fifth. And I think that was that crazy counter magic war on the stack, and then just like fifth just has such a hard time answering like the Hydras once they're resolved, and the trample makes the basically like fifth's plan of I'll just Shinrei all of my creatures back like laughable. Egg's deck just I feel like it's one of those decks which on paper should not work as well as it did against Tempo, but in practice like just having fast combo and strong interaction makes it so that once you resolve your combo, your opponent having trouble dealing with it, like, hey, that's just how it goes. Like Tempo is all about not letting you resolve relevant stuff, and if you can resolve relevant stuff, well, you win the game. Until next time, this is Caillou signing off.